Hello, everyone. This is just a makeup class for those who missed the live demo class that we had earlier on. And in the class, we talked about vocabulary building, just the basics, right? And we discussed that vocabulary is simply talking about all the words you know and their meanings and how often you can engage with it in your conversations. So, vocabulary simply refers to all the words that you know and you can use in communication. And we also said that vocabulary is not grammar. And grammar is not vocabulary. It's very important because I see most people, they tend to confuse or to replace vocabulary with grammar. They try to use it interchangeably, but it's not correct. Vocabulary is not grammar, and grammar is not vocabulary. In the sense that vocabulary talks about all the words that you know, right? And in the class, I simply said vocabulary is words and meaning. That's just what it means. So when you hear the word vocabulary, we're simply talking about words and meanings, right? Now, that's for vocabulary. But for grammar, grammar simply refers to the set of rules that guide your speech. So you know that are you from where is wrong. Where are you from is correct. It is grammar that makes you know that it is where are you from, not are you from where. Do you get that? Then we also talked about the types of vocabulary. We said there is active vocabulary and there is passive vocabulary. The active vocabulary simply talks about the words that you know and you use often, right? You use them regularly. While the active vocabulary there talks about the words, sorry, the passive now, it talks about the words that you know but you rarely use. Now, do you get it? The words you know, you rarely use, passive. The words you know, you use them often, active. That's it. Then we also talk about the importance of um, building your vocabulary bank, the importance of always upgrading your vocabulary in the sense that it helps you to be able to express your thoughts fluently. It helps you, um, it gives you words to use. You can easily communicate with somebody. That's the reason why when they call you up to give a speech or to give a talk on something, some persons tend to keep scratching their head. They keep using any of the filler words. You know. The reason is because when it comes to vocabulary, they are not rich in that aspect, right? So it is important that you always deposit a new word in your vocabulary bank account such that when you're called upon to give a speech anywhere, you can strongly deliver. All right, then we also talked about ways you can have a rich vocabulary bank account. And what we talked about was that number one, you have to read strategically. You have to read with your minds open to a new word. Yes, you must read. You must read. That's the truth. You have to read because there's no magic, right? There's no magic to learning. You have to learn. The easiest way to learn is to learn. The quickest way to learn is to learn. Do you get? So really, yeah, if you want to build a vocabulary bank, you have to read. Pick up something, read materials, read books, read newspapers, just read. And when you're reading, remember that you're in search of a new word. Your eyes should be able to pick, oh, this word, I haven't seen this word before, I do not know the meaning of this word. And once you get the meaning of the word, the next thing you want to do is to pen down the meaning. And when you've gotten the meaning of the word, you want to be sure that you engage with the meaning of the word. In other words, if you find a new word, you get the meaning, use the meaning of the word to first make a sentence. Then you replace the meaning of the word with the new word you've gotten. Do you understand? Now let me make an example. Now there is the word nefarious. Nefarious, that's a new word, right? And it means wicked. It means wicked or evil. So, meaning, if you're putting it in a sentence, you would say that his intentions towards him or towards her was evil. That's the meaning of the word nefarious. Now let's replace that word evil with the new word. It becomes his intention towards her was nefarious. His intentions towards her was nefarious. In other words, his intention towards her was evil. That's how you practice with a new word. It's no magic. You have to do the work, right? Then the next thing you want to do in being able to build an extensive vocabulary bank account is that you have to study the root words. You have to know words, you have to know how they are formed, you have to meet them in their original state. For instance, there is the word ambi. It means to be able to use both. Use both. So if you say ambidextrous, it means you are able to use both hands. Ambidextrous, this person is able to use both hands, meaning ambidextrous, this person is ambidextrous. This person is able to use both hands. Do we get that? All right. Then the next thing we also talked about in being able to build your vocabulary bank account is that you should be able to have visual cues. In other words, you must put the new words before your face so it can enter your mind. You must see it with your eyes so it can enter your mind. That's how you can build a vocabulary bank. In other words, you can use something like a stick note, right? You can use something like a stick note. Let's say you get the word, you hear the word, let's use ubiquitous, right? That's a new word, ubiquitous. Right? So this is the word ubiquitous. The next thing you want to do is that you put in the word, then you put in the meaning of the word. Then when you're done, you stick it somewhere where you know your eyes can reach it, right? You can stick it on your wall or something. You stick it on your wall. So every day when you step out, your eyes will see it. Oh, you remember, oh, this was a word I learned yesterday. So how am I going to apply it today? So when you come out, you can say smartphones are ubiquitous. In other words, smartphones are everywhere because the word ubiquitous means it's common, it's everywhere. So instead of saying smartphones are common, you can say smartphones are ubiquitous. Smartphones are ubiquitous. So you have to put that word before you. You always have to be seeing it before it enters your mind. And when you found a new word, please ensure that you always engage with it. Do not let a day pass without using that word. For those of them that attended the class, we were able to learn some new words, and we all used those words in class as a sentence. And I believe that for those of you who were in class today, you know about the words now, and you know how well to use it in your conversation. And the last of this is that you want to have a vocabulary notebook. You want to have a vocabulary notebook. You want to have a book where you're always penning down the new words you find in a day. Yes, you'll see some words, you put it down. So before you sleep, you can just take a notebook, go through your notebook, and you get. So this is how you're able to build your vocabulary bank account. Yes, that's how much it is important to always have your vocabulary bank account full and rich. Don't every time you withdraw, right, from a bank account, your vocabulary bank account, always make sure that you deposit in it, right? So this is just a recap of what we learned in class today, and this is a special call for those who were not able to join us in class. Please try as much as possible to join us in the next class. My name is Coach Immaculate, and it's always a pleasure to have you in class and to teach you some of the things I know that can help you improve your speaking skill. To the next class.